Type 1. So today we're going to focus on all the tests which is there in Cambridge Book 9. Alright, so let's have a look at an academic writing task 1. So as you know, the book has 6 tests and the first 4 are for academic students. Test A and B, which are the last 2 tests, are for the general students. Now let me tell you at the start, this lesson can be very tedious because it's longer, okay? So it's going to run roughly for more than 1 hour or so. So please feel free to pause the video. There's no rush in doing it, right? Pause the video time to time and do the tasks. Obviously, you'll not be able to do like all 3 or 4 tasks as a stretch because you need 4 hours or so, right? So the best thing is to do 1 task, take a break, and the next day have a look at the next bit of the video and then do test 2 and the next day test 3. Okay, so if you do it like that, one thing is you feel relaxed and you feel fresh to jot down your answers. If not, you might feel tired and not do a good job. Okay, so let's have a look at the first one. The 2 maps below show an island before and after the construction of some tourist facilities. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, right? So let's have a look at the 2 maps. This was before the tourist attractions were built and this is after that, okay? So here you have the beach and there was a sea and that's it. It was not developed. But later on we have the beach. We have a path, right? There's a vehicle track as well that runs from the restaurant to the pier. And we have a reception, okay? There's accommodation, there's a restaurant, there's a reception, there's a pier, right? And more accommodation. So I'd like you to pause the video here, take 20 minutes and jot down your answer. And then let's discuss our answer. Alright, so I hope you would have completed the answer by now. Let's have a look at a sample. Okay, so let's start off by saying, right, the 2 maps so let's paraphrase it, right? So the 2 maps show an island before and after the construction of some tourist facilities, okay? So the 2 maps illustrate the layout of an island before and after certain infrastructural developments. Overall, the island has developed with the new facilities being introduced, right? According to the first map, just a few trees stood on the island not far from the western woods. A beach stretched to sea from coast. Except for these, there was nothing at all. Let's see. Editor මෙතනින්ද මාවත් එක්ක ගන්න. In the second map, come on. Now what can you see in the second map, right? After construction, in the middle of the island is the reception. In close proximity is the new restaurant. Okay, so then you can talk about how there is a vehicle track around the reception to the restaurant. Okay, so you can say there is a new vehicle path running from the pier to the reception and from there to the restaurant. Okay, so you all can talk about more features. I'm just giving you a heads up how to do it. Okay, so here what I did was I spoke about the introduction, right? Then the overview, then I spoke about the first map. So in the first map, there's nothing much to talk about apart from the trees here, right? Apart from the trees here, and then I could speak about the trees here, and then of course the sea and the little beach area that you have there. That's it, okay? But when it comes to after construction, you can talk about, I spoke about only this bit, but you can talk about how new accommodation was also introduced using the footpath, okay? Right, so I think you could jot down the remaining bit. I've just given you the startup, so you should be able to kind of complete it now. Moving on, let's have a look at task 2. Some experts believe that it is better for children to begin learning a foreign language at primary school rather than at secondary. Do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? Okay. So here, this is an advantage-disadvantage style essay, but you have to tell us, do the advantages actually outweigh the disadvantages, right? Now, what is the advantages? That children learn a foreign language at primary school. So, let's have a look at it. Now, here you have your essay question. right? Now you have your intro, you have your body, and then you have your body 2, and then you have your conclusion, right? Now, what does it tell you? That learning a foreign language FL means foreign language is better at primary school, okay, rather than secondary. So, what do you think about it? I would say talk about education, and yes, I think the advantages are greater than the disadvantages, okay. So body para 1, I would say why learning a foreign language at a really young age is useful. One reason is they remember well. And the use of it is much higher because they're able to remember and then obviously practice with the language, okay. Another reason could be that later in their life it could be useful later. So you don't really need a primary level to find a job, etc. But as you grow older, like example, learning French could be really beneficial, okay. So you're learning English well is beneficial, okay. So what I think is you should be able to kind of think about what are the relevant points. I'd like you to pause the video for 40 minutes and write down your answer. Alright, so I hope you would have finished writing your answer. Let's have a look at a sample answer, right? So you can write down. Let's start by saying, some professionals believe that learning a foreign language in the early years is better compared to secondary school, right? This trend has both merits and demerits. I believe that despite having a few drawbacks, it has been beneficial in numerous ways. For students, right? Next one. On the one hand, there are two main advantages of this notion. Firstly, at a young age, children have, or it's a children can grasp, that means absorb well. Grasp will let's say children can grasp well whatever they learn in a lesser time. For instance, a 4-year-old boy may learn to operate a mobile faster compared to a 50-year-old lady because of the functionality of the brain. So, if children learn a new language during their primary school days, then they will take less time to learn, right? Secondly, mastering a foreign language can be beneficial for many students if they plan to settle abroad for job opportunities because they will be given privilege compared to people who are not aware of the local language. So let's write down the next para. On the other hand, this development has a few shortcomings. The primary disadvantage of this approach is that learning a new language may not be useful for those who do not wish to move to other countries. For example, if a child is learning French during his school days and later prefers to be an IT professional. So Johnny wants to be an IT professional in his own country, then French might not be beneficial. Another drawback is that children do not the required decision-making skill during their early school days as compared to secondary school. In conclusion, although there are vivid drawbacks for this given statement, its merits have clear victory over them because the benefits such as the addition of knowledge and future opportunities in a different country cannot be overlooked. Therefore, I believe that the advantages of this phenomenon outweigh its disadvantages. Right, so here I've got the conclusion and written down as to a summary and my perception. That's the last para. So first para and second para, right? So the first para shows about what are the advantages of, teaching this foreign language to them at an early age or during primary school. And then the second paragraph here talks about, on the other hand, what are the shortcomings of this development, okay? And then you have the introduction. So it's a bit different to this structure that I've put down so that you can see different ways of writing down your answer. But either way is fine, okay? All right, so let's have a look at the next task. Right, so let's have a look at the task. Now here the chart below shows the total number of minuted in billions. So total, I think it should be total number of minutes, right? Minuted, minutes. Of telephone calls in the UK divided into 3 categories from 1995 to 2002. All right, so let's have a look at the graph. Okay, so we have the years 1995 to 2002, and then you have the minutes in billions, right? So you have the local fixed line, you have the national and international fixed line, and then of course you have the mobile connection. So the local fixed line, you can see it increases, and then after 1999 it's decreasing, okay? Whereas the international and the national one is slowly growing, and then it's kind of constant, but there's a very slight growth, In comparison, mobile data has grown in numbers, right? So I'd like you to pause the video here, take 20 minutes and write down your answer. Right, so I hope you would have completed it by now. Let's have a look at a sample answer. So you can say the bar chart shows spent in billions of minutes on 3 different kinds of phone calls in the UK or in the United Kingdom from 1995 to 2002. Next, we are going to write the overall local calls were the most popular over the whole period, while mobile calls increased dramatically thus narrowing the gap between the three categories by 2002. First para, minutes spent on local calls fluctuated over the time period with just over 70 billion minutes in 1995, peaking at approximately 90 billion in 1999 and then steadily decreasing to just over 70 billion minutes in 2002. Then we're writing down national and international calls increased steadily year by year from just under 40 billion minutes in 1995 to a peak of just over 60 billion in 2002. Next one, mobile minutes increased. I think let's just insert it to the before para. We'll combine it, okay? Mobile minutes increased at a very rapid pace from approximately 3 billion in 1995 to around 45 billion in 2002. Mobile phone usage nearly doubled from approximately 22 billion minutes in 2002 to 40 billion minutes in 2002. Right, so here I think we can merge this together because there's only one sentence here, right? So first you write the introduction, you tell us what type of chart it is, and then you paraphrase the question. Then of course we've given the overall view, and then the minutes spent on the local calls, and then the national and international calls, and then the mobile minutes, okay? But I think you could merge this together because this only has one sentence. It would be better if we merged it, okay? So here is a sample answer, which is good, and you can pause the video and go through the sample answer in detail. All right, so moving on here, we're in test 2, academic writing task 2. Now, some people believe that unpaid community service should be a compulsory part of high school programs, right? For example, working for charity, etc. Okay. To what extent do you agree? Do you think it should be a compulsory part when students are in high school? Okay. So what are the positives, what are the negatives, and what's your opinion about it when you are explaining it? So I'd like you to take 40 minutes, plan your answer first, and then jot down an answer. Off you go. Alright, so let us have a look at a sample answer, right? So let's write about, we'll start by saying nowadays the society has changed significantly. There are a huge number of people, or you can say there are many people, okay? There are many people. You can change it, right? There are a huge number of people, or there are many people who are in need. Most people think that free social service such as helping the charity, helping the needy, developing the countryside, and teaching sports should be included in high school courses. Personally, I strongly disagree that unpaid community service should be compulsory. Right, write down. Firstly, students have their own duties such as to study, do homework, and go for extra classes. These cause teenagers to not have enough time to spend to spend on other aspects. After that, it will reduce their energy because they have various activities that they should. So here you can then continue to write it. Okay, so you can talk about how important that their time is and that they should spend time studying and doing their activities, right? Then actually focusing on social work. Because why? I strongly disagree that unpaid community service should be compulsory for teenagers or high school students, right? High school programs. So I feel that, through this you could support your answer. If you have written that you strongly agree, then please write points that you agree with, okay? Continue to write it, and then you have your body para 2, and then finally you will write in conclusion and talk about your conclusion. Okay, so I'm not going to completely write it because now I think you're getting the hang of it. We've done book 7, we've done book 8, and now we're in book 9. Okay, right, so now we're into test 3, academic writing task 1. So let us have a look at the next activity. So we're into test 3, writing task 1. The charts below give information on the ages of the populations of Yemen and Italy in 2000 and the projections for 2050. Okay? Right, so we have Yemen and Italy, and Yemen for 2000, predictions for 2050. Italy 2000, predictions for 2050. Okay? So 0 to 14 years, it's nearly half of the population, whereas in 2050 it reduces. Okay. Here in Italy it's 14.3 and it reduces more to 11.5, right? 15 to 59 years is nearly 50% here, but in 2050 they predict it to be more than 50%. And here, of course, it is 61 and it dramatically reduces to 46. Okay. 60 plus, of course, here there's not much of a difference, but in Italy there is a problem. There is a figure difference from 24.1 to 42.3. Okay, so nearly half. Okay, but not there. So here it's 3.6, 5.7, but here it's 21.4 and 42.3. Right, so I'd like you to take 20 minutes and write your answer down. Right, so I hope you have finished writing your answers. Let's have a look at a sample answer, right? So let's start writing. The pie charts illustrate So I always write some good answers, but this time I'm going to write an answer and then let's review it and see what kind of score we can get, okay? Because I always keep on writing answers and I feel for, the others I usually just put it up for you to look at a critic, but this time let's write one and go through the critic, okay? So the pie charts illustrate show the population information in Italy in 2000 let's say in Italy and Yemen. So we'll give both in 2000 and 2050, right? We can see that in 2000, the majority of people in Yemen was between 0 and 14 years old within 50.1%, whereas in Italy, most of the population was between 15 to 59 years. So now I just want you to look through this bit. Is it like when you look at it, only these two paras, will it give you a 7 or below 7? Now the pie charts illustrate, that bit is fine. The population information in Italy and Yemen in 2000 and 2050, quite similar to the original one. It doesn't really talk about and say projections or predicted figures for 2050. So I think that again is a problem there. Then the overall, we can see that. You don't have to say we can see that. You can just say overall and write what is there without writing these figures. But without saying that, straight away the student has got into the body para 1. So remember our 5-step process? What's our 5-step process? You have to first, in the third one, write the introduction, fourth one, write the overview, then only you must write the detailed paragraphs. So this doesn't really fit in. So you read it, follow the instructions, right? And then you identify the main features, then you write the intro, then of course you write the overview and then the detailed paras. So this is not in that structure, and that is why this is not like a band 7. Student has rather what I wrote, right? So here we could say that the student is not writing grammatical correct sentence structures, right, for this bit, and seems not to follow the structure. So roughly it will be below 7. Okay, so when you're doing it, make sure you write a good answer with the given structure. Right, so moving on, you know what a good answer is now, right? So just a reminder, writing tasks need to be assessed to know what exactly your writing level is, okay? I can write a brilliant answer and then someone needs to assess what you're writing as well, okay? All right, so moving on, let's have a look at writing task 2. So here you have 40 minutes to do your task and you should write an essay on this specific topic. Some people say that the best way to improve public health is by increasing the number of sports facilities. Others, however, say that this would have little effect on public health and that other measures are required. So, discuss both these views and give your opinion. So, number 1, okay, improving sports facilities is good. Number 2, other measures are required. Number 3, write down your opinion. So this is a discussion essay plus a opinionated essay. Pause the video and jot down your answer. You have 40 minutes to do so. A problem of modern society or let's say a modern society is the declining level of health in the general population with conflicting views on how to tackle. Let's say how to tackle the worrying trend being overweight. Firstly, many believe that today's sedentary lifestyle and stressful working conditions mean that physical activity is no longer a part of either our work or our leisure time. If there were easy to reach local sports centers, people would be more likely to exercise more regularly, let's say more regularly. Let's just say more regularly, okay? However, there are better ways of tackling this problem. Interest in sport is not universal, and additional facilities might simply attract the already fit not those who most need them. So you can go on, right? What I've done is I've left some space here to show you can continue this idea, okay? And then you can continue this idea as well, right? And then you can write a paragraph to say, in my opinion, and write your opinion, okay? And then write a conclusion. So we have the intro, then we have body para 1, body para 2, body para 3, and then finally you can say in conclusion and jot down your answer. Okay? So I think, yep, that's good to go, and you can now have an idea as to how to structure your answer. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Okay, writing task 1, and this is the last test for academic students. Okay, you should spend about 20 minutes here. The graph below gives information from a 2008 report consumption of energy in the USA since 1980 with projections until 2030. So what you're supposed to do, jot down your answer in 150 words, okay? So let me just scroll this a bit up so you can see it clearly, okay? So what happens here is that you have petrol and oil increasing, you have coal increasing, you have natural gas fluctuating, and roughly around 2015 it tends to be constant. And then we have nuclear, not that much of an increase or decrease, solar or wind, and then we have hydropower again, quite constant after 2010, I would say, kind of in the same level. Right? Okay, so I'd like you to take a few minutes, actually 20 minutes, and write down your answer, okay? Pause the video here and write an answer, and at the end of 20 minutes, let's discuss how you can structure your answer. Energy consumption in the US from 1980 to 2012 and projected consumption to 2030. Overall, the US will continue to rely on fossil fuels with sustainable and nuclear energy sources remaining relatively insignificant. It's para. Petrol and oil are the dominant fuel sources throughout this period with 35 Q, that is units, used in 1980, rising to 42 Q in 2012. Despite some initial fluctuation from 1995, there was a steady increase. Moving up. This is expected to continue reaching 47 Q in 2030. Consumption of energy derived from natural gas, natural gas and coal is similar over the period from 20 Q to 15 Q respectively in 1980. Gas showed an initial fall and coal gradual increase with the two fuels equal between 1985 and 1990. Consumption has fluctuated since 1990, but both now provide 24 Q. Coal is predicted to increase steadily to 31 Q in 2030, whereas after 2014, gas will remain 25Q, right? So you can write more, right? Here, quadrillion units is what I have put as Q here, right? Q, Q, Q. So you can also write something similar. I've written more or less most of it. So you have the intro, and then you have the overall. Then I spoke about petrol, okay? And then of the other consumption, which is the natural gas, okay? You can also pick and choose and write the ones that you want to group together, okay? So just a little heads up for you, and then now you know how to continue the answer and jot down an answer. All right? Okay, so coming to task 2 now, the essay topic. Let's have a look at the topic. Every year, several languages die out. Some people think that this is not important because life will be easier if there are fewer languages in the world. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Okay, it's not important, okay, because life will be easy if there are fewer languages. So do you think it's good or do you think it's bad? By now you know how to jot down a little mind map, structure your answer, take 40 minutes, pause the video here and write your answer. Right, so let's have a look at a sample answer. It's not even agree, it's agree about this opinion. Nowadays, several languages die out. I think this situation is right. In the world, already have much languages, minimum 100 languages include small country. But we know just some languages, kind of English, French, Japanese, Chinese, not even Chinese. At this moment, we live in the world. So we need first language in the world. Therefore, several languages need to die out. Also, small country language is almost difficult to learn and not useful. So we don't need to learn these languages, even if we're learning these languages, not using in the world, just useful this country, and we don't find small language education academy. Now I'm sure you look puzzled, even though I can't see you, because you might be wondering, oh, why did she give us this answer? Okay. These are sample answers extracted from student answers. So this student has positives, which means the student does understand the task. Tries to answer the task, but there's no structure, okay? Limited vocabulary used. Word forms are not correct, okay? The student finds it difficult even to write a simple sentence structure which is correct, okay? So a sample answer like this or an answer like this would barely get you a 4.0, okay? So let's say a 4.0 for this kind of answer, okay? So if you feel that this is your level and this is the style of writing that you have at the moment, we need lots and lots of more practice, okay? So if you're at this pillar, advanced, we should be focusing at getting a 7 or above, okay? So if this is what, is something similar is to what your answer looks like, then we need to go back and go through the beginner and the intermediate pillars before that, okay? And if you have any comments, please feel free to put it in the comments box, right? As to how you feel when you're writing this and, what you think your level is and if you need any help or assistance, okay? So that brings us to the end for academic students, and now we're going to move on into the general component, okay? So let's have a look at the general test, the first one, right? So you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Now you're working for a company, you need to take some time off work and want to ask your manager about it. So manager means semi-formal. So in your letter, you need to tell or explain why. This is the first point. Let me just change the color. Okay, so we need to explain why you want to take time off work and then give details of the amount of time you need and suggest how your work could be covered while you are away. So take 20 minutes, pause the video and write down your answer. Right, so I hope you would have completed it by now. So let's have a look at a sample answer. So you can say, dear Sir, or you can say, dear Mr. John, okay. Let's say, dear Sir, I am writing, editor, මාව නැතුව screen එක විතරක්, this letter to request you for 15 days leave of work starting from 14th January because my exams are coming are in the coming week. Furthermore, there are high chances of me securing the batch top position in the university considering my previous papers went very well. Moreover, owing to the fact that my thesis is on latest technology, our organization will have far more benefits. Moving on. Honestly, even though the syllabus has been completed, I have not yet got enough time to revise properly. Additionally, for the submission of practical assignments, there is a possibility that I might be on a half day tomorrow, which will be informed latest by the end of the day. Last para. Although I realize that my temporary absence can cause obstruction to the ongoing project, I give my assurance that though I am away, my knowledge about the subject will be transferred to my junior beforehand, thereby not causing any inconvenience to the company. I am looking forward to hearing from you and expecting your kind cooperation. Editor මාත් එක්ක ගන්න. Yours faithfully, Tom Stevens. Okay, so if you put here the name without putting dear sir, then you can finish the letter by saying yours sincerely. Okay, so what I've done is the first para, second para and the third para in 3 paragraphs, first, second and third, finally the closing sentence. So if you want to go through the answer, please pause and go through the answer. Right, so moving on, we've got our task 2. You're supposed to spend about 40 minutes on this task. Being a celebrity such as a film star or sports personality brings problems as well as benefits. Do you think that being a celebrity brings more benefits? brings more benefits or more problems. So it's your opinion. Okay, so they're asking you for your opinion. It is an opinionated essay. Okay, so pause the video here for 40 minutes and write your answer. Alright, so hopefully you finished your answer. Let's have a look at a sample, right? So here you have a sample answer and I'd like you to pause the video and read it through. Okay? Now when you read this, let me just move this a bit around. Okay? Now when you read this, you will realize that it does have simple sentence structures written well, right? It does have paragraphs as well, okay? But maybe it does have some things which you're not supposed to do in academic writing, okay? So I want you to read it through, like starting sentences with but, okay? Writing contractions. So, and also when the student comes to writing complex sentence structures, I feel that there's some inaccuracy in certain sentences, right? So this would be like a band 6 score answer, all right? So I'd like you to compare your answer against this one. Right, so we're coming to the end, right? So this is test B and I'd like you to try and do this on your own. On a holiday, you lost a valuable item. Fortunately, you have travel insurance to cover the cost of anything lost. Write a letter to the shop manager and you must tell them what you lost, explain how you lost it, and tell the insurance company what you would like them to do. So take 20 minutes and pause the video and write your answer. Right, so I hope you would have written the answer. Let's have a look at a sample. Now, do you think this is a good one or is there a need for improvement here? So read it through. On my recently holiday trip, which was in Thailand, now if you see it, you know what the error is here, like even simple punctuation errors, right? I lost my luggage in which I had too many import documents and my gold watch which I bought from Singapore for someone, which cost me 1,500 Australian dollar. So, subject-verb agreement issues are there, right? Singular plural issues are there. Punctuation errors are there. But student is writing some level of paragraphs with the understanding of the topic, okay? So this would be a band 5 level answer. So I'd like you to think about this and what you have written and compare it against that, okay? All right, coming to the last task, which is completely homework for you, right? Write the following essay. Some people think that teenagers are the happiest times of most people's lives, and the others think that the adult life brings more happiness. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So teenage years are good, adult life is good, and your opinion. So plan your answer and write down your answer. So I know this also has been quite a long lesson for you, but we've had a look at some good things, right? We've had a look at lots of sample answers. We've analyzed lots of answers to have a look at what is a band level 6 answer, 7 answer, 5 answer, 4 answer, so on and so forth, right? So please make sure that you do lots of practice questions and that you're able to get them assessed to know actually where you stand. So with that, we come to the end of the lesson, which we were looking at the Cambridge Book 9 practice questions.